One day, I was sitting at my desk, and before I knew it, it was 4 p.m. I had no recollection of where the day went, and that was the start of my entrepreneurship journey.
It's true. You make my body feel loose. You make my heart go boom.
Hey y'all, for those of you who don't know, my name is Cassidy, and this is 8, a channel highlighting self-love through the 8 dimensions of wellness. Today, we're diving into occupational wellness. I've been ready for this. I've been waiting because I want to talk to you all about my entrepreneurship journey. And trust me, I'm sure, I don't even know what to say about it, but we're going to dive in. After graduating from college in 2012, I had the opportunity to work as a manager at a family friend's restaurant, and it was the time of my life. After the summer ended, I knew it was time to kind of figure out, like, what does a job in the field of marketing look like post-grad? So I had internships and things of that nature, but I hadn't really gone after a full-time role. An opportunity to work as a marketing coordinator at a nonprofit came about, and I jumped after it. I experienced so many unfortunate things while working at this nonprofit. Like, I'm not even going to dive into it because it doesn't deserve my attention at the moment, but it was pretty bad, and I was not paying attention to how it was affecting me. I knew I wanted to go to grad school and decided that I would do it part-time, so then that way I could still make money and go to school with hopes of finding a better opportunity along the way. Little did I know, it would just add on to the stress. On top of that, I was in a relationship, so it was like more stress. I was just juggling a lot, and it was really taking a toll on me. Hence, I mentioned the day that I looked at the clock, and it happened to say 4 o'clock, and I was just like, where did the day go? I couldn't remember if I had been to meetings, if I had any conversations with anybody, had I even, I don't know if I had done any work that day. I just remember looking at the clock, and that was the time for me. I usually left early to go to my classes that started at 6. So I would leave work at 4, and I was just like, dang, it's time for me to go. And that's when I really sat there, and I was like, it was during an Uber ride to class, and I was just like, it's got to be more to this. And I wasn't just talking about my job, I was talking about my life. If you watch my welcome to my channel video, if not, I'll put it in the description box below. Okay, hey neighbors. I discussed the mental and physical challenges that I experienced that basically required me to quit my job with not a plan in sight. All I had was this continuous message and word that popped up everywhere. If I was watching a sermon, if I was reading a book, if I was randomly scrolling on Instagram, and that was abundance. I put in my 2 weeks. That really turned out to be a month, but that's the whole other story. I put in my 2 weeks. A day after my older sister put in her 2 weeks at her job, I put in my 2 weeks the day of my mid-year review, during my mid-year review. And it was a day before I was leaving to take a week-long class in San Francisco. It was bold, it was risky, but most importantly, it was empowering. Everybody was shocked. And I think I was a little bit shocked too, because I had never really quit a job without there being circumstances, external circumstances, like, oh, I was going away for school, or there was only a certain time frame. Like, no, I just got a promotion. I was doing very well at the company, like with my work. There was nothing. I didn't have any really bad relationships with a lot of people or anything like that. So it was just very me being like, all right, I got to do what's best for me. I got a part-time job that was not really paying my bills like that. It was paying a few bills, used my credit card as I needed to, and I was just like, we're gonna figure this out. And really, this is what it looked like for me. Number 1, rest. I became the queen of naps. If you don't follow the nap ministry on Instagram, 1, you should. But 2, they always talk about how naps are resistance to capitalism. And I couldn't agree more. I truly embodied that, like, for real. I hadn't realized the toll that workplace burnout really had on me. It was draining, and I really took the rest of the year off to sleep, to just do whatever I wanted to do and not to put too much pressure on myself. For some, that worked. For others, it didn't. I didn't really care. And that brings me to part number 2 is I had to stop comparing myself to other people. I was having such a hard time at the beginning when it came to resting because I was constantly in a state of comparison. I'm like, this person's doing that, this person's doing that. You know, they quit their job, but they immediately launched something. And I realized my situation might not be like another person. And all I could do was what was working for me. And that wasn't being lazy. What was being lazy was the fact that I was resisting something that was right there in front of me, which at the time was my bed or my couch. And I just needed to rest and chill and not be attached to a schedule. And that's something that I've really enjoyed throughout my entire entrepreneurship journey. And I'm still making sure that I'm holding true to that. And number 3, I had to reevaluate what success meant to me. I've mentioned in a number of my videos that I do not necessarily equate money to success. I realized that if I constantly chase money in that way, I would always be unhappy. Like if I didn't create the money, the source of income for myself, then I would always be unhappy because it would be on other people's terms. True success for me is feeling whole and being me and loving myself like that unconditionally. And while I wasn't making the same amount of money as I was when I was working my full-time job, really investing in myself and doing what I needed to do and doing what I was feeling like what in my gut I knew I needed to do allowed abundance to come in threefold. So I never really marketed myself in my business and my services ever, still to this day. And I'm a year into entrepreneurship. Never marketed myself. All of my business has come from referrals, and it's come from people just asking me what I was up to and then looping me in on a project or an opportunity. And I can just only be grateful and understand that that is true abundance. That is true. That's how the term abundance is starting to play out for me. And it won't always be that same situation for everyone's entrepreneurship journey, but that's my story, and I've never been happier. I say all this to say that we all have an entrepreneurial spirit. And I truly believe that the more we tap into our wants and our needs and just put ourselves first, the more that spirit and that energy of entrepreneurship will unfold without a perfect playbook. Even as I continue on my self-love journey, I'm learning more about myself and more about what I'm here to actually do, what my mission on this earth is to do. Every day I get a clearer vision, and I'll keep sharing it along the way. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.